Hi, I'm Raman. I'm terrified. You seem like nice people. I'm starting off with invoking Magritte right off because I'm going to be using words like college and learning and training and money and success. And those are words that mean different things to different people. And I just want you to keep an open mind. We're going to be talking in broad terms. Workforce development is my heart. The good news is, yay, jobs. We're going to have jobs. By 2020, we're going to be adding jobs. We're going to have 165 million jobs as opposed to the 140 million jobs that we have now. The red group is what is going to be opening up because we need to fill retirement gaps, and the last part was new jobs. The number of jobs by educational attainment is something that I spend a lot of time thinking about and watching. The areas that I want you to pay attention to, because I'm going to be talking more, are the arrow on the far right is pointing to the jobs that are requiring bachelor's degrees, and over to the left, more jobs that require no college degree. The shortfall, there's going to be a shortfall of 5 million jobs that don't have college graduates to fill them in the year 2020, okay? And that is a problem, but it's not the only problem we face. It's the problem that gets a lot of press, but a bigger problem, I think, is that 2 out of 3 jobs won't require a college education, okay? 2 out of 3 jobs are going to be in retail sales, food prep, service, but no problem because 2 out of 3 people, 2 out of 3 adults in this country don't have college degrees. So there's a match. The problem is that there are things that go along with not having that college degree, and it represents challenges for all of us, not just the people who don't have that background. So does college matter? Well, among adults who are 24 to 32 years old, the ones we typically call millennials, college grads make 70% more than their peers who don't have degrees. And that's at entry level, and it goes up from there. So there's no guarantee, though, because 1 in 3 college grads are working at jobs that don't require college degrees. So that's also displacing some of the people who don't have those college degrees. So what we need to do here is we need to think in terms of how we're going to address the gaps, not just the skills gaps, but the gaps between jobs and people and those who need them. Among the 24 to 32 year set, not having that degree makes you 3 times more likely to be unemployed and 4 times more likely to live in poverty. And it's a vicious cycle. Parental educational attainment is the single biggest predictor of whether or not children will eventually complete college. Children with behavioral issues in school don't have good experiences in school. It makes them less likely to go to college. The cycle keeps repeating. We need to interrupt and break the cycle so that more people have more learning opportunities, not just college, but other skills training opportunities as well. So one of the questions that I think about is, how did we get here? What happened? This is relatively new stuff. When I wonder about what happened, I think in terms of the supply and demand of jobs. One of the things that we've seen, especially within the last 20 years, is that the recession has resulted in hiring freezes, in the last 20 months, hiring freezes, reductions in HR staffing, cutbacks in training expenses. These are all things that seem very logical. They make sense. No one doubts that businesses need to take actions to do this. So cost-cutting measures are important. Absolutely, no doubt about it. The problem is that what you're cost-cutting makes a big difference. So reductions in HR training reductions in HR staff have a very profound effect on the training opportunities that are provided to the human beings in the workplace. Automation is another thing that's happened. Not that it's a bad thing, but it's changed the jobs. We have to pay attention to the fact that the change has been a large and affected so many, many people. Manufacturing jobs still exist in this country, but the jobs themselves have changed. We need to make sure that employers and other resources are being used to provide the training people need to be able to do the new kinds of manufacturing jobs there are. Verification of skills is another thing that's changed. We used to do this through methods like apprenticeship and evaluation through human resources. These days, it's done in a much more efficient way, which is good. The problem is that it's easier to measure education and experience than it is to understand whether someone is capable of doing a job. So don't look for unicorns, employers. This is one of the things I want to address. Employers need to stop looking for the perfect person who has had exactly that job title before, all right? If someone has the ability and the skill to do the job, it's as good, if not better, than having had the job title before. Schools, tech centers, community colleges need to work with employers to identify what skills gap exists in the real world and figure out how we can address those needs and make sure that people have the opportunities, affordable opportunities, to get the training they need for better wages. The government is doing a lot and can do even more to make sure that there is an investment in these training opportunities at community colleges, at tech centers. It's a long-term investment. I think of it as an investment the way you would capital expenses. If you bought a computer, you'd time it out over 7 years. A human being's training, not so much. Another thing that we can do is, as employees, as people who work in companies, we can take every opportunity there is to learn. Learning shouldn't be a chore. Unfortunately, that's what it is for a lot of people because they had negative experiences in various different ways and places of learning. We need to help them understand it could be a game too. Lastly, I want to call up Thomas Sergiovanni has a way of explaining the tug of war that's happening in schools today. The competing values at hand are equity versus excellence, efficiency versus autonomy. The important thing to remember is that these stakeholders, everybody in this, is coming at it with different values, and all those values need to be respected, but we need to work with each other instead of pulling against each other.